There are over 40 million Americans for whom Thanksgiving and all the days before it and after it are just one more day of being hungry. So I wanted to talk to an expert who can guide us and tell us exactly what to do. Lisa, welcome to the Morning Bell.
Good morning, Paul, and happy Tuesday.
Well, thank you, and to you, and you are just as awake as anybody can be. But, you know, it is a serious time for people who are hungry. I kind of gave a statistic. The truth is, hunger could be around the corner for any of us, right?
Absolutely, it can be. You know, it's masked a lot in this country. When we grew up, I mean, we think about hunger in third world countries being bloated bellies or lack of food. And sometimes in America, it's masked in obesity or lack of nutritional food. There are more than, as your statistics showed, more than 40 million Americans who hunger is an everyday reality. 365 days, 24/7, it's always there. So people say, well, Lisa, what does it look like? And I say, well, it's the mom who waters down the milk so that it goes further. It's the dad who skips a meal so that his kids can eat. It's children who've never had seconds of anything because there's just not enough food to go around. And we tend to just think of it at this time of year, and I'm always puzzled by that because, you know, hunger exists in April, it exists in September, it exists in July, and there's so many things we can do.
Well, let's talk about what we can do, certainly at this time. You know, probably the easiest thing for some people, if you have the resources, is make a donation, money or otherwise, to a food pantry.
It is. That is best. Cash is king, as I always like to say. And food banks, there are more than 200 of them here in this country covering every county that exists and Puerto Rico that make sure that food is being distributed to those in need. So what's interesting is they have 4 to 6 times the buying power that we do. So think about it. If you're scrambling right now during the holidays and you're thinking, oh, I got to do something, and you're filling your shopping cart, if you buy $10 worth of food, that's $10 worth of food you give. But if you give $10 to a food bank, they actually, through the relationships with various food companies, can buy $40 worth of food.
So for people who don't think of it that way, they think of, hey, I made an extra turkey. Where can I bring this? I mean, generally, that's not the kind of thing you want to bring to a food pantry, but there are ways of just providing a wonderful holiday meal, or for that matter, meals all the time for people, if that's the way you want to do it.
There is. It's a little late now if you have that extra turkey and you decide you want it to be on the Thanksgiving table, because food banks have already distributed the food more than a week ago. So those that are in need have the fixings, you know, to fix their meal, to prepare their meal on Thanksgiving. But so many amazing nonprofit organizations serve food, especially on Thanksgiving. So you think about our service clubs like our VFWs, our Elks, our Moose Clubs. You think about our pantries and our churches. Many houses of worship will serve a meal on Thanksgiving Day. So you can volunteer that way to go with your family. And I often say, make it a tradition. Call ahead and ask how you can help. You can also think about what are they doing at organizations where perhaps there's a celebration that's a little out of the norm and they need volunteers. Think about hospitals where there might be people who are ill and don't have anyone visiting them, but the hospital staff is going to try to do something nice on Thanksgiving. Or the VA centers. You know, we're so focused on our veterans these days, and oftentimes they need a little cheering up too. So, but call ahead first. Call ahead and see what's needed, and you and your family or you and your friends could make that part of your holiday tradition.
You know, Lisa, you could have been a teacher or a banker or whatever. Why do you do what you do?
Oh, you know, people have asked me that my whole life, at least my professional career, and I think it's just in my DNA. I think it's in all of our DNA, and all of us as Americans. You know, the Americans are considered the most generous individuals in the world, and I don't know if that's true or not. I know that philanthropy is the most formalized in the United States, and that it's neighbor giving to neighbor. And at this time of year, when we think about that first Thanksgiving with the pilgrims who came on the Mayflower, and the indigenous people gathering together, whether the story is true or not, happened this time of year or not, it's a wonderful metaphor for the way that America came together, that we didn't have a monarch or a state religion providing the funding for the things we needed as schools, hospitals, orphanages, churches, libraries, what have you. And I just think, asking on behalf of someone who cannot ask for themselves is one of the noblest things that you can do. It's an amazing career, and it's every day when I put my head on the pillow at night, I think I made the world a little bit better for somebody else today. And there's no better feeling than that, Paul.
I want to turn to Tuesday, December 3rd. It's going to be here before we know it. I think people know that it's Giving Tuesday, but they might not, so tell them what they need to do on Tuesday and all year round.
It's the first Tuesday after Thanksgiving every year for your listeners who aren't aware of it, and it is a movement by nonprofits, both in the United States and now internationally, to raise awareness and say, let's kick off this giving season. Most of us have our mailboxes very full at this time of year by appeals from our favorite nonprofits, and some that we say, how in the world did I get on this list? Why am I getting this appeal? As you know, Paul, I often share, don't let guilt drive your philanthropic decisions, drive your charitable donations. Think about three things. What did you do last year? Who did you give to last year? What is really important to you? Most of us give to our house of worship, our alma mater, maybe our kids' school, and have one or two others. And then think about, did something change in your family or your living circumstances that has made you more aware of a cause? For example, did somebody adopt a baby? And all of a sudden you want to give to an organization that supports adoption. Did someone in your family get a disease? Did they get breast cancer or have a kidney transplant? And all of a sudden that's popped to the top of your list. Then one of your favorites, did somebody adopt a dog? And all of a sudden, this cute little puppy or cat is running around, and you want to make sure that animals are taken care of all year round. Think about what may be changed in your circumstances. Set a budget and make a difference in everyone's life, because then you will do the hashtag Love My Life, because it will be amazing the change that you see happen. And at this time of year, when we gather together with friends and family, whether it's actually on Thanksgiving or it's the following, few days or during the holiday season, I often encourage people, take time and talk about it. It's not about trying to convince somebody to care about dogs if they don't, and they care about cats, or they care about zoos or whatever their cause is. It's about having that conversation, bringing it to the forefront to say, this is what I'm supporting this year. What are you supporting? One of my good friends who is a great fundraiser, he said, when he was receiving an award, he said, you go to any other city and they say, what's your business?
Right.
In Chicago, people say, what's your philanthropy? What do you care about?
And it's so critical to what we do. Lisa, we're out of time, but people who want to reach you, where can they do that?
At my website, lisadietlin.com, or online at lisadietlin, Dietlin.
You're the best. Thanks for being with me.
Happy Thanksgiving,
Happy Thanksgiving.
Paul.